Hello, everybody. I'd like to call the Dover Select Board meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 4th, 2022. First thing is public comments. Paul.
Thanks, Vicky. So just a quick announcement. The Westover Fire Department will be having our annual open house this coming Sunday, October 9th, from 11 to 3. With the free barbecue and some equipment demos and tours and a raffle of local gift certificates. So I missed the deadline to get into the upcoming events announcement. So I just wanted to announce that now.
Okay, Westover Fire Department open house on Sunday. Anything else? Travis.
We will be doing our line painting this Thursday night, just so everybody knows. We'll go to work Friday morning and we'll have new fog lines and a lot of new yellow lines in town.
Nice, fantastic.
Yep.
Considering we couldn't line last year, this is really good news.
Yep.
Great.
This coming
This Thursday. It's going to be a nice night, nice
Yep.
day. They're very good. All right, Tim.
Yes, I'm Tim Municipal, and I'm running for state senate. And I'm here because I currently serve on the Brattleboro Select Board, and I was chair during 2020 of the Brattleboro Select Board. I'm going around trying to visit all the select boards in Wyndham County. I'm really getting a feel for each town's concerns, how I might help these towns once I'm in the Senate, hopefully. And here to ask for your support and ask me questions. I would love to learn more. I'm just going to be quiet for this meeting. Definitely very interested in way Dover has economic development, and it's very important that I'm here for this particular meeting, it seems. I just want to learn a lot and really impress upon people that the reason I'm running as an independent is that I admire and love the tradition in Vermont here of having dropping the B's and the R's, and when you come together on a select board and really just rolling up your sleeves and getting what needs to get done here. Dropping the party off. So thanks for the already welcoming community here, and sit here and listen.
Great. Maybe the rest of the select board should introduce themselves to Tim.
I'm Dan Valiato.
Scott Salley. Sorry, running from soccer practice.
Sarah.
Shippey.
Joe.
Is Joe's icon?
Yeah. Joe Mahan.
Hi, Joe.
All right, well, Joe.
Hello, I am here, just trying to unmute myself. Seeing you guys muted me. Joe Mahan, Select Board, nice to meet you.
We're all here in some state tonight. Hopefully, Sarah, you're feeling better. Yeah. Okay, anything else for public comments? Next, we're moving on to the Highway Department for the Green Mountain Power's request for Harris Road. Is Nikki coming to this?
She didn't say so. I spoke to her today.
All right, so maybe you can help. These maps
Yes.
are very difficult to understand. So
Yep.
maybe you can help walk us through what's going to happen. And my first question is, are the landowners aware of this happening, and is it fine with them? Because it's what we.
I can't answer that. I believe so, because I had asked her, of course, about the green boxes that go on, the junction boxes that go on the side of our road, because it's underground.
Mm-hmm.
So she said there was gonna be one of them, and then she had already gotten an easement. She had thought already assigned.
From the property owner?
From a landowner.
Mm-hmm.
So my guess is that they had probably have. Don't quote me on that. I have no problem with the project. We have underground in other parts of town.
So explain where it goes.
So it's
to
gonna
and
start just down from the Harris Road intersection,
Mhm.
where Harris Road meets Captain Copeland. And it's gonna go down the edge, the very most edge of the town road. All the way down to where it makes a right-hand turn, and then it's gonna cross, and that junction box will be at the bottom of a lady's property there, and then It's gonna continue on out through to our town turnaround,
All underground.
all underground.
And what is the reasoning for underground?
That
Or is
I
second-
don't know, it looks to me like they're retiring a lot of these other lines.
I see
that
that,
feed all those houses from every different direction.
Laura.
So what we've heard with my legislative hat on,
Mhm.
Energy Committee from GMP. Is that they are doing this as part of resilience work and adapting to climate change, stronger storms. Where they can, they are varying, particularly in rural areas where they've had significant outages. So I don't know if that's specifically this piece, but that is the trend. It's the trimming,
Mhm.
because the storms
Of course.
are getting more and more is the expenses. Can't remember how many millions of dollars a year it is for.
Travis.
Yeah. Well, the new project, a new type of underground that's being put in that has power and fiber optic installed in the ground. So makes sense.
Okay, so all those, I assume Fidium went down the road?
Michelle Pinkerman's right.
Okay, Michelle, just one more moment. Okay, but so I assume Fidium just put fiber down that road, and does that mean those poles are gonna be removed? I don't know. Michelle,
I just wanted to let you know, I live on Harris Road and I have not been notified of this.
okay, so I would ask that Nikki notify. Is everybody good with that? The landowners that this is gonna affect and give them some time to weigh in on it if there's any concerns. And also I asked that Fidium question because the fiber in Eastover is just now really becoming alive, and if they're taking down poles that now can contain new fiber optic, what's the plan? They're going down with it.
And
That's it.
Harris Road did just get fiber optic, all up on the poles.
Yeah. So we'd like to see the plan, a little more detail. And maybe if she had attended, we might be able to answer those questions. So does the board want to sign off on this tonight?
No, we don't know what's happening yet. Travis, what was your feelings on it?
I had another question too as well, so if you don't sign, I could get my question answered as well, you know, I forgot to ask her when I was on the phone with her. When this project may take place.
Are they-
It might have not happened this fall and next spring or summer, you know?
Okay, all right, so we have quite a few questions. Sarah or Joe, do you have any other questions? Sarah?
So we need to put together a list of all the questions that we want answered, so that can all be addressed in a single, instead of a multiple back and forth kind of a situation, right?
Right. So, well, as Michelle has said, we want to make sure all the property owners are going to be notified and give them a time period in which they can air their concerns. We are
Right.
concerned about, because nobody has really told us this, what's happening with the new fiber that is now sharing the poles that are going to be retired. And then Travis has a question about the timeline for this and when they plan to do the construction.
Well,
Are
they
there-
can't, yeah, so the current homeowners have to receive formal notification. We should be getting a copy of that
Mhm.
to verify that it was done, right?
Correct, just like Cliff did.
Mm-hmm. And then, sorry, people walk in my office, I keep putting on my mask. And that, so we need that, and we need to know their timeline for notification and for response, and then their timeline for installation or work, right? Those are the kind of the three biggies.
Yeah, and the fiber is that it's going down underneath too. Okay, all right, so can you relay that? And I know that Jeanette has all that down, so she can, yeah.
I did.
Very good.
Agenda. I just assumed she was gonna be on.
Okay, That's it on that. Next, we're gonna revisit the possible equipment purchase. So Travis provided us some numbers for purchasing this lightly used wheeled excavator from a neighboring, well, it's at a dealership now, right?
Yep.
So the details are, the price of the machine is $215,000. The trade-in value for our current machine is $47,500. And the outright purchase price would be $167,500. The option 2 is a lease option for a 2-year lease, and then it would fit into our more easily into our capital equipment fund. The purchase price would be again $215,000. The trade would be $45,000 less, obviously by $2,500. Payment due at signing is $30,000, and we would be financing $140,000 with 24 months of $18,000 with $18,000 of $750 a month payments
Interest.
and interest.
That's only interest.
Oh, interest only. So we're just paying interest. Okay.
Yeah.
And so then we would need to pay $158,000, which is almost the amount as if we bought it right out now.
Right.
So
The only other figure that I didn't put in there was, by the time the town owned that machine with option 2, it would be $158,000 plus the $30,000. So you'd be paying, by the time we own it, $188,000.
right. And so this is a 2018 machine with 500 hours. It has it's 2018, so it has 2 years remaining on their 7-year warranty, which is 3,500 hours. It also has a 5-foot ditching bucket attachment with tilt, hydraulic thumb, and a 42-inch rotary mower head that it comes with it, which we could use also to mow roadsides, correct?
Yep.
And then if we were going to push this purchase off to the year that it is scheduled, which is 2023, the price would be $327,500. Less our trade of 45, hopefully, 282,500. Dan,
On the warranty, for 2 years, how many hours will we put on in 2 years?
We will run out of time before we use the hours.
Good.
This is a 15-year machine. It gets traded every 15 years. Our 15-year machine currently has 6,000 hours.
so basically we're buying a 5-year-old machine that really wasn't used very much. So we might be able to get more than 10 years out of it.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, this one being a 2018, probably with 500 hours, they probably only use 3 or 4 weeks of summer. No,
Mhm.
not much.
So I talked to Marco, and he told me that we carried $280,000 over from last year's capital equipment fund. And we have not yet funded because taxes are just coming in, our $500,000 funding of the fund this year. And I was a little concerned because some of the purchases this year have been on the high side, but also the trade-ins have been doing better than we have in the past. And we still need to sell the dump truck and the other truck. So hopefully we'll also do well. So his feeling was the capital equipment fund could probably take it, absorb this year, and then next year that wheeled excavator would be off, and then we could backfill with some more funding to build the fund back up. So he felt that there was enough money available, and so I want to hear from the board if they think this is a good deal or not.
I think it is a good deal.
Would you want to buy it outright or lease it,
Buy it.
Jim?
Has Travis talked to the previous owner of this vehicle? And they were happy with that machine? They just.
It's pretty enough. like the road tire. And that's the reason we got rid of that. They didn't like it, they didn't want to run it. You've got a crew that doesn't want to run a machine. I mean, they got to stop with that.
So I guess ultimately that's why they traded it, because
They
they weren't
traded
using it.
it, get a tractor machine. Smaller.
And Travis has assured us that his guys can and will be running.
Yeah.
Scott?
It's a no-brainer to do option one, especially with like the lease deal, where you're getting it's like a credit card payment for,
Yeah,
it's really, really bad. So we can, I would, $2,500 for our trade-in. Not to mention, we don't have to pay that $18,000 in insane interest rate.
Sarah?
Yeah, I was thinking we should definitely go ahead if it's something that we're going to be doing anyway. And we have the money in the capital fund to cover us until we get to 23, that would make sense.
Joe? Joe Mahan?
I'm here.
What is your vote on, straw poll on the wheeled excavator purchase or not?
I wanted to do it last week, so just like all of you said, it's a no-brainer. We have the money and we need the piece of equipment. We're not really getting it any earlier than we have to, so I'm good to go. I call the vote.
And I just want any public comment. Well, does somebody want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we buy I don't have the numbers in front of me. If anyone wants to put the numbers down, that'd be great.
Why don't you have Scott make the motion? Because he's got the
Good,
number.
Scott.
I move that we purchased the 2018 wheel excavator for $215,000 with a trade-in value of $47,500 for a total purchase price of $167,500
I'll second that.
coming from the capital equipment fund.
Second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. You're an aye, Joe, I assume. Joe,
I'll vote for Joe.
aye. Okay. We are buying a new to us wheeled excavator. And when do you think that transaction will happen, Travis? Can you- Oh, wow, thank you. Okay. Next is the revisit of the town hall windows.
Yes. I have two quotes, one from Pella Windows of Greenfield, one from locally Pioneer Timber Frames. We can have them purchased and installed from Pioneer Timber Frames for $36,150. Or we can have them purchased and installed for $64,600 from Pella.
Differences? They're all thermal?
Yes. I would have. He didn't say, I'm assuming that Pioneer Timber Frames are American windows from WW. And Pella is obviously selling their own.
Okay. Have you seen the product, what it looks like?
I have not seen the WW windows. I have seen the Pellas.
Okay.
We can purchase the Pella outright. They gave us the option to just buy the windows from them. That price is $55,900 just to buy the windows. And this only does the 13 large windows. So there's 3 or 4 in the front, 5 on one side and 4 on the other. That does not include the bathrooms on each side of the larger room or the kitchen area.
I'm just curious why the cost is so different. Is one of them wood, or are they both vinyl, or they?
There are the ones that Pioneer Timber Frames, after they got my budget quote from him last year,
Mhm.
the ones that he was gonna get from WW were, they were clad.
They were-
base. So they were,
So we wouldn't have to paint
right, they
them.
were clad outside and they were the wood painted white interior.
Okay.
And they had the grates and screens and,
Are the grates within the window, or are they?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes,
that's important, I think.
yeah,
Just my 2
Yeah.
cents on that, but,
some
so,
of Palo windows were the same, they were. The same materials, so to speak.
Scott.
So I meant to ask this earlier, but is there any difference if you get one type of window to get the efficiency Vermont, like tax credits or something like that?
That I do not know.
That should be something maybe look into, or maybe ask someone who knows.
Laura,
So I was actually gonna ask, so we have the Municipal Energy Resilience Program, which has not launched yet, but which the town can receive a grant for. It's ridiculous to $500,000 or it's not matched for energy efficiency improvements in your buildings. And so we're hoping at BGS, I think I mentioned this to you in town meeting, but they still haven't launched it yet.
Yeah.
So, and Windows for sure.
these windows are in really bad shape. That's the problem, is that, another winter. One of those panes may come in, and then we've got a blocked up window, yeah, an emergency. And I mean, the whole panel will fall out if you're not really careful. Right now. So I just am curious what the timeline is.
It would be so. I would love it if someone from the town would just send me an email and tell me they have to replace these windows. And ask me what the timeline is.
Okay,
That would help me. I'm having a meeting with building services on this, and
looks like Scott's gonna do it right now. But yes, we can certainly do that. But this is a situation we really need to get fixed because it is dangerous.
well, if the timeline doesn't work, that
Same parallel state.
Well, if we're gonna really replace 5 or 6 of them, we're gonna replace them all. I mean, you can't open them, you can't close them well, they don't stay up, and they weigh. And some of them, and they weigh so much that, so I'm surprised nobody smashed their arm in them trying to get them up and down. And then when they start coming in, you have to push them back or they will smash on the floor. So, okay, so, yes,
Knowing Travis Wendell, because I see him every day, when he priced that, the windows. The difference was the Pella window was a custom made window in order to fit that size. Whereas the Marvin window, the difference is about 1 inch, which is going to build up the sill. So that it takes up the difference. And that's the reason why the price is so different.
Well, that's interesting. Sarah or Joe, you have any comments on these windows at Town Hall? Sarah saying, no?
I'm actually trying to find the bid, which email it was attached to. I'm sorry.
I don't think did we get it?
No.
No,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
verbal bid.
Yeah,
Oh, okay, sorry.
Mhm.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, Joe.
So, basically, if we're having a safety issue with the windows, maybe we should address that with a sign not to open the windows for the point being right now. And then we should obviously look out to see if we can save some money at the state level first. And I think some of the windows still work, so we get some ventilation. Luckily, we're going into the winter. Maybe we can have something ready for the spring anyway. So I don't think we're too much of a bind, but we have to move forward with something at this point.
I don't know if you heard it, Joe, but Travis said some of the windows have been screwed shut because they are falling out. So maybe the worst ones have been dealt with.
Okay, sounds
Yeah.
good.
we'd love to get some money from the state, so
I'm
we
sure we
will,
can do an assessment.
Yeah.
Before winter and sure things are bucked up.
so we will send Laura an email saying we need to replace them and what's the plan? So that she can take that. Sarah,
Travis is going to be meeting with Chuck Clarice at some point in the near future because they have to do a tour of the LED upgrades in the 3 buildings. So perhaps that would be a good time to find out from him if Efficiency Vermont has any money.
Laura is shaking her head that it's through this program.
Oh, okay.
And it's an expensive window replacement, so, and there is no match. So this is, we really want to go this route if we can.
Okay.
Cool. Right, and so Scott is sending you an email right now, Laura, so you'll have that. Yes,
Just on this note, and I was gonna wait to another meeting or action from budget time, but back that I had in the budget for our building, I mean, we were waiting off to through Efficiency Vermont with whatever Sarah, I don't know if she can remember. But we had in there doors and windows that needed to be replaced as well, and that was in the budget. And that got pushed off, waiting to hear from Efficiency Vermont, so I don't know if this will fall under that same
Doors and-
category that Laura's talking about or not.
I'm not, so what we're waiting for right now is Building and General Services to come back with the definitive treasury guidance so that we knew. And so that they can come out with the program rules. So in other words, I don't know how many buildings, so a town will be eligible for up to $500,000, which is more than I wanted in there, but that's. And so I mean, it's multiple buildings that would be fantastic. And they will come and do an assessment as well, if that's helpful.
okay. So we should look at, maybe you should send Laura an email
Well,
about that too.
One is Clint. Well,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
I mean, because there's multiple buildings that need attention, so. Okay, so we'll
I'm
pull,
just looking for a prompt to say to them, hey, I have people who may need to act while we're waiting for you.
right,
Are we gonna be reimbursed? That's what I'm looking for.
fair enough. Okay. Yes, Dan,
So I also contacted them for the Historical Society as well.
That would not, unless the town owns them.
we do not,
Mm-hmm.
but there may be some other grant money.
Yep. Thank you.
Anything else, Travis, under the highway department?
Yes, we are doing the copper on the roof of the Tannery Bridge tomorrow. We
Excellent,
might have to close it down to 1 lane if they need to set up staging, but other than that, that project will be completed as of tomorrow.
great. And how about the door at the town hall?
I talked to Travis when I got this quote from him
Yes,
soon.
okay, because otherwise we need to put those
Very-
pillars back up and
And
because,
the railing is. Piers been ordered, I don't know if the railing is made. But.
okay. Okay,
I have
Before
been-
winter.
I have been pressing on for progress,
okay. Hopefully it will happen.
yes.
All right, we are moving on to new business, which is an update from SeVEDS.
And I think
Hello,
I see Meg. Hi, Meg.
here, hi.
that's
Okay.
okay, and I'll be quick.
Okay, Meg, you're on.
Okay, well, I just wanted, first of all, thank Dover, the town of Dover, for supporting our funding request, year in, year out. And so we're here to just give a little update. And I also kind of wanted to, I think most of you understand BDCC and SeVEDS and their relationship, but I just want to give this little soundbite that we have because it just really sums it up and it made it clearer even for me. So BDCC, as we know, is one of 11 regional development corporations in Vermont. So as such, we have an annual contract with ACCD, the Agency of Commerce and Community Development, to handle all things related to economic development in the Wyndham region. As we all know, that only goes so far. So there's the extra spice, which is that SeVEDS is a separate organization. It has its own budget and it has its own board, but it has no staff. So what SeVEDS does is contracts with BDCC to carry out projects sort of beyond just the traditional economic development in the Wyndham region. So SeVEDS leads with strategy and insight and guides what's needed. And then BDCC runs the program. So BDCC will find grants to fund programs. Municipal funding, we ask every town in the Wyndham region for $3 per person based on their population in the 2010 census. And I will say there's a good reason why we have not updated to the 2020 census, because in many towns, if you change the amount of your social service request, you now have to go back and petition to change that amount. And that takes an extraordinary amount of staff time. And so over time, we've been building our presence and going to more and more towns to get on their town meeting warning. And we'd like to just take a breath before we start redoing it all with 2020 census numbers, because the amount of change would be not super significant in many towns. And of course, towns can always adjust the amount, at town meeting day if they see fit. So we're asking you for the same amount as we have in the past. This municipal funding that goes to SeVEDS helps BDCC design programs and move forward with intention in all our work. It's flexible funding. So it can be used in many ways. We can use it as matching funds for getting other grants to run programs. We can use it for a startup fund to kind of start a program so that when we do go apply for that grant, we can show results. Sometimes a program, we know it's going to take 10 years to really see the results of that program, but federal funders may think that they can check out after 5 years. So the municipal funding allows us to have some budget money for SeVEDS that we can use to fill those gaps. So that's why that funding is important. So now just some examples. We sent over just a document with some examples of just updates and links to things that are happening at BDCC now. We operate in our main areas. We have business programming, which I think is the sort of most traditional economic development that we do. I know through that there was a pitch contest for the Wyndham County Business Plan competition in Dover this year. So that was a presence that we had. We have been keeping on with business resiliency program that sort of grew out of COVID. So we're still offering for businesses to apply for funding through that if they need to be made good for COVID losses. And we do have lending services for businesses and direct technical assistance to help businesses from startup to growth. We also have the Pipelines and Pathways program. So we have our workforce development programs. Those operate within all the high schools in our region to help students graduate from high school with a plan. And it's about helping them understand that there are careers that they could bring them back to Vermont, even if they want to leave to complete their schooling. So that's the focus of that. We've also been doing the Welcoming Communities program, where we have brought in refugees from Afghanistan, and those are helping to fill gaps in the workforce. And we're now, as those people become settled and develop better English skills, they're moving into different sorts of jobs. But it's been amazing, this community effort to bring new Americans into Southern Vermont. And then finally, near and dear to my heart, of course, is the community development programs, which kind of recognize that community development is at the heart of economic development. So we have the Southern Vermont Economy Project, which is the project that I currently run, where we have a yearly summit, and then we have lots of programming. And I will say, Laura is watching out for this BGS grant, and so am I. And as soon as we find out about it, my program will have some informational webinars and make sure that we're plugging that information into every town and helping towns if they need help in accessing that funding. We will be there. That's really a lot of what we do, is just to make sure that people are aware of opportunities that can help their community. I think that's it. We also have the Community Facilities Technical Assistance Program. So for community projects that need some help in applying for federal grants, we can help them get ready to do that. So just bear that in mind. If there's community projects that are needing help, we can sort of help them fund studies or things like that that will help them get on the road to getting that USDA funding that's takes some capacity to manage. So that is my very brief update. Does anyone have any questions? Hopefully that helped clarify what I mean, some people are like, what is the difference between BDCC and SeVEDS? Hopefully that clarifies that and why we ask for the funding for SeVEDS. And people, you know, BDCC does receive funding from multiple channels, but SeVEDS itself, to do that background work, really relies on the municipal funding so that that can be funneled back out into programs that come into the communities.
So Meg, I gave the select board the annual report and also just a copy of the SEDS, which will be the next part for me. Just
Great.
that report details the programs and the return that you all are seeing, that all of our voters are seeing, the investment. So
And we'll have a new annual report. It's literally like we just did the final proof, I think, this week. So we do mail those all out to the towns, and we'll have them available at any events that we have as well. So there'll be an updated annual report very shortly.
Great. Thank you, Meg.
Yeah.
Now, Laura.
Okay, so I am here on looking for a letter of support for the state designated Southern Vermont zone to be federally designated as an economic development district by the U.S. Economic Development Administration. So I'm going out to all of our towns and asking this. The reason for the zone was an area that we created in statute. It's Wyndham and Bennington counties. It's an area that has high economic need, significant population loss at the time. And we developed a 5-year comprehensive economic development strategy in the zone. You have that in front of you. That was in 2019. And that has to be redone every 5 years. That is a public process we do throughout the region. We show data to folks, businesses, residents. We talk about the strategies, we listen to what folks are seeing in their communities, and we bring forward another 5-year plan that then has to go through a public process to be accepted. An economic development district, which is what we are looking for designation, is a place that the federal government recognizes as an implementer or an agitator of that set. And they will fund it, not in a large amount. It's not really even enough to staff one person, but to coordinate that implementation of the SEDS throughout the region. That's one reason for doing it. Second reason, so during COVID, the federal government was looking for ways to deploy funding effectively, quickly. And so if you think about it, this district has a publicly created public plan looking at data and vetted. So investments into that plan have a better chance of being successful than, just a bridge to nowhere, for instance. So we've done some work of it. So going to all the towns in Wyndham and Bennington County, looking for a letter of support, which I'm happy to draft one to you and send it to Jeanette for you all to sign to. If that's something.
Yes.
you want to do.
Yes,
Very-
yes, please. That was quick.
Or-
Anybody have any questions for either Meg or Laura tonight? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to economic development. Eric's here tonight. Good night, Laura.
Okay, so welcome.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Okay.
why would I forget that? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh.
Never-ending
The
problem.
unfinished business, I'm sorry. The review of the RFB for town Commonwealth contractor. So this is a new well that we are going to try to drill that will give us a clean water source that does not have PFAS. And it's the best guess of our engineers, but we do not have a lot of options. We have two very public buildings that cannot use the water for drinking. So this was put together by Wyndham Regional
No, by Cass.
By Cass, okay. And who are our engineers?
Yes.
And so I think we have to make a motion to put this out for bid for the well, and there's drawings in here.
And they did supply me with larger drawings.
Yeah, these are pretty
for
small.
contractors to review.
Again, so Jeanette had put together the money that we've spent on PFAS testing, monitoring, CAS, and it's up around $65,000 already, and we haven't done anything. We're just monitoring, and a lot of testing, but we haven't done any, mitigation of the problem at this point. So. Would somebody like to make a motion to put this out for this request for bids? Out. So moves.
I'll make a motion that we put out a RFP for the town common, a well contractors.
Second by Scott. Any comments on this from the board or anybody else?
I have a comment.
Yes, Joe.
I would like some sort of, did Laura already leave, I assume?
He did.
She ran right out, didn't she? Yeah, this is like fleecing of a town with no action, but in 3 years, in my opinion. And we're gonna put a well in and could be in the same situation. And then we'll be over $100,000. Nor do we know, I know we're gonna get some money back, but we don't even know how much money we're gonna get back. So I love there's a first and second, and we can have a vote, but I want to let the towns folks know and everyone else know that I don't think this is at all, and the state should know that how much this cost, and I hope we get reimbursed for all this.
I hear you completely, Joe, and I think that, again, the only reason we really know we have a problem is because we have a daycare in the building, which has to have the water tested all the time. So that brought it to the forefront, and now we also have issues at the landfill. So this is a problem that's going to be in every town, and the towns don't even know it. And now their testing requirements are so stringent that the tests can't even detect these levels. I mean, it's kind of, I feel like everybody's chasing their tails on this. But we have 2 buildings that are very important buildings to this town. And I think we need to try to offer water that is drinkable in both buildings. Otherwise, the value is just gone. Move the buildings. So it's a sobering thing, but I think it's something we should continue to pursue. Myself, I'm listening to anybody else who has other feelings about it. All right, Dan.
The public should know that this testing was mandated by the state. So we didn't have any choice.
Remember, we bought this building for $1. So all in favor of submitting their RFP? Say aye.
Aye.
I do not, I'm abstaining from the vote. I will not vote on that.
Well, you might as well just say no then, Joe.
I say hell no.
Joe says hell. That'd be 4-1. Thank you. Now we can move on to economic development. The first quarter economic development update, Eric.
Okay, so our most recent payment received on August 18th covered the period from May 15th to August 10th. That payment was $296,837.22, which was 373% higher than our same payment in that quarter last year. I reached out to VTAX looking for some answers. They for confidentiality reasons, cannot tell me why this happened. They can only tell me that it is okay and that everything is correct. So I have received assurances from VTAX that we won't have to repay any of this money and that this is in fact the amount of 1% we received for this quarter. If anybody has further questions on that, I can reach back out to VTAX, but they're not sharing a ton with us.
So they used
good.
to share, Eric, they used to share sales tax separate from rooms and meals. Is that still? And so where was the big gain on this?
Sales and use.
Sales and use,
Yep.
not rooms and meals.
No, rooms and meals was right on par with what we've seen over the past few years. You know, obviously besides the COVID main year, but 2019, 2021, rooms and meals was right in line. There was some growth, but I think it was like 3% or 10. It was something like 5 or 10% growth in rooms and meals for this quarter. The main growth in this payment was all in sales and use.
Interesting.
So, you know, obviously we reached out to VTAX because we wanted to know if we were going to have to be paying this money back. It's already in our account. You know, so we wanted to make sure that we could actually keep it. And they said they cannot provide us with an explanation as to why it happened, but it's correct based on what was paid in 1% for the quarter.
Thank you.
Okay. DASP for the quarter was $7,921.30. We've used 32% of that budget so far. 8 out of 15 of the projects for 22-23 have been completed. There is one other project that is being done in phases. Dover Technical Assistance Program was approved and launched in that quarter. Bytown marketing campaign photo swaps happened in August. Everything's performing well. And the banners that we ordered for Bytown in conjunction with the banners that we ordered for just the town of Dover will be going up as soon as Mr. Werner and his workers have a hole in their schedule to get that taken care of for us. So you'll remember we ordered the Bytown banners, but then we also ordered the banners specific to Dover. There are 3 seasonal banners that there's a summer, a fall, and a winter banner that will go up and down throughout the year that complement our Bytown banners very nicely. We have those right there at the town office. If anybody wants to see them, stop in and Shannon and I can show them to you. You'll see them up soon enough. Also in that quarter, we approved funding for Carnage Con, and in quarter 2, which this stuff just happened, we'll see Wine and Harvest and the Wildlife Festival and Carnage Con coming up. Summer concert series ended August 28th. We only had the one weather cancellation and another cancellation due to COVID, but we rebooked a band for that day, so we still had music. Open mic nights have been once monthly, moving to bi-monthly starting in September. And updates for our trails and rec. Dog stations went up in July. We ordered the bronze plaque for the Phil Bartlett dedication at the town forest. And then when this update was written, we had talked about ordering the sign for the entrance, which has now happened, is actually installed. For anyone who hasn't seen it or photos of it, Travis and his guys absolutely crushed the job up at the town forest. The parking lot is absolutely gorgeous. There's new retaining rocks around the parking lot, the new entrance sign, everything's been hydro seeded. It looks absolutely amazing up there. So Travis, kudos to you and your guys for getting that done for us. I really appreciate it. And then other than that, we're moving forward on the RFPs for Horace Hill, and those are out. Any questions on anything that I know I went quick? Any questions on anything I just covered there?
So the dedication is on the 22nd of October.
Yep, that's item D on our agenda tonight, but yes, we can just get that out of the way now. So we've scheduled the dedication for Phil in the town forest on Saturday, October 22nd at 2 p.m. You know, a lot of his family, that was the best time for them. We want to try to get as many people there as possible. We're going to have some hot cider, beverages and some snacks and whatnot up there. It's going to be a lovely event to get that named after Phil.
Okay, the SOVTA landowner agreement update.
So since I put this on the agenda, things have changed just a little bit, but a reminder that we had heard back from legal who said, you know, the agreement that was mentioned and sent to us after the last select board meeting, our legal seemed to think that that might be a little more appropriate for a private landowner, not necessarily for a municipality. So he asked that he be given the opportunity to draft something that made a little more sense for us as a municipality. We asked him to move forward with that. We got the first draft of that midday Friday. That draft was shared with our entire board, as well as the president and vice president of SOVTA and whoever else they shared to after that. We will be reviewing that document and discussing at the October 18th select board meeting.
Okay. Okay, anything else on that? Bringing up Valley Trail A-, and Mickey and Linda are here. I'm sure that's why they're here. And our options.
Nothing else to do. Nothing.
So you'll see from the board, or the board members will see that I sent the email from Ross Goen, who is our contact at the Department of Transportation, who is basically giving us an ultimatum at this point to say we either need to move forward or decide not to at this point. The project, he's literally been doing everything in his power to make sure that those funds stay on the table for us to move forward with this project. But it's just, we keep running into these scenarios with easements and property transfers. And, it's been a long time now. So basically to sum up our two options, one is that we can hire a new engineer. They have a list of at the ready engineers, which is how we came to hire our management group for this project through the state. That's how we hired Fuss and O'Neill, who has put all of these easements together for us. But in order to get those easements approved by DOT, we need updated engineering. Since the last time we had the engineering done, Lamoureux and Dickinson, who did the work last time, was sold to another engineering company. So basically, DOT would like to see us hire that at the ready engineer to take the old drawings and update them in order for us to get the easements moving forward. Option two is to forfeit the grant and cancel the project. If we decide to go that route, we will end up owing this could result in the town having to pay back any federal money spent to date on this project, approximately $9,100 at this point for VTrans staff time. But it would also allow us to move forward with the project without VTrans oversight, which makes it a little easier, I think, easements wise and planning wise, but it does not help us in terms of paying for the project. My thought, so we're at a chicken and an egg here. Either, we don't want to sign we can't get the easement signed until we have an engineer, but we don't want to hire the engineer until we have the easement signed. It is my recommendation that if there is still a desire to move forward with this project, that we do it via the first option, which is to look at the ready engineers, get that price from them, and move forward with the project that way. I think it's something that people still want. It's been voiced to me that it's something that people still want, but it's just been so long since the beginning of this project that we can't use the engineering that we currently have.
So, Eric, people have come to you and say, this is an important project, because to me, it's a sidewalk to basically nowhere. It's nice to go over the river, but that people may want to stand on the river and look at the river, but it doesn't go to a business. It doesn't go to a center of activity. It goes to a property that's for sale now. And so I don't know. So people really think it's important.
there is a list of firm believers in the Valley Trail A- project who are consistently checking in with me on the progress and whether or not it's still going to happen. I don't have anyone actively saying not to do the project, but I think that's because a lot of people forget that it's even still going on.
Could you familiarize us with the cost if we continue down the path with the state and say, okay, we're gonna do this? They only pay for a portion, the actual construction. We pay for all the engineering and the on-site person to run the project. And
Correct.
so there's a lot of out-of-pocket costs on our part to even go down, continue down the grant.
Correct. And Fuss and O'Neill, we hired them to take care of easements and things like that. They basically have been charging us minimally because of the fact that we're stuck. So they'll check in with me once a month and charge us for 15 minutes of time or whatever. At this point, I think it's like once a quarter they've been checking in with me just because things have been moving so slowly. So we pay for engineering, we pay for Fuss and O'Neill, legal for easements and things like that. Office time to be, filing easements and things like that. And then according to Ross at DOT, if we move forward with the engineer, they could get moving on construction and whatnot, following along in either 2023 or early 2024. However, may still have some funding shortfall based on the current estimates. So even if we got the engineer, got everything signed, got everything moving forward, we could still end up paying construction costs on top of the grant that we had originally been given to do the project.
Well, when we did Valley Trail Part A here, I know that we ended up paying for a project manager. So that's another additional cost that the town paid for, to have somebody here on site working with the state that was beyond the engineers. It was a day-to-day kind of person.
We have that currently with Fuss and O'Neill.
Okay,
That's
so we haven't actually paid them for that kind of oversight.
correct. They've only charged us for the hours they've used so far.
Right.
So they charge us monthly, but it's a nominal amount because again, once they got the easements written up, they kind of had to pull back because L&D disappeared. And then, we decided not to hire the engineer a while back and things kind of sat dormant. So they haven't really been charging us. If the project was to move forward and be in full swing, then their expenses would go up as well because they would literally be managing this project on a day-to-day basis so that Shannon and I just kind of delegate to them.
Do you have any kind of numbers here?
Dan has asked if you have any kind of numbers. Eric.
I don't I can get numbers together for you on what we've spent, much like what we've done with the well. You're probably not going to like the outcome. I can, the only way to get numbers potentially from an engineer is to do that at the ready bid process and see who gives us, the quotes basically. But if we're going to go down that route, that system is typically held for people who are ready to move forward with the project. I don't know that they're super keen on us choking them up just to figure out how much it costs.
Linda.
Yeah, a few comments, not necessarily, in the same basket. And he may hit me for what I'm going to say. I'm not sure that we're not, I hope we're not, 100% saying, oh, wow, we've got to have the trail. We do have concerns about that bridge. It is very dangerous for people to walk across it. And there was a suggestion many years ago, 15 years ago, that we just do something about that bridge to provide some kind of safety for pedestrians walking across it. And that would have been, basically what shows on these plans, a separate walkway, because we weren't allowed to touch the bridge by the state. But a separate walkway to get people to the other side. Now, your comment about what's on the other side. We don't know. Because we're talking about two pieces of property being sold. Hopefully they are commercial. They are commercial to some extent, minor on the Dole project. But we don't know what's gonna go in the other side, the old, other thing. And should that be, whatever, I have no idea, that's being part. Well, then that path has gotta go, because that's the way people would get to it. So I think that to say, well, it doesn't go anywhere is a little short-sighted at this point. When you see who's gonna buy it, what they're gonna do with it, I think you can make your judgments then about, no, forget it, this is just gonna be a, secondhand clothing store,
Oh, but that particular, the commercial complex is now turned into a housing.
or housing there, but a
Right.
buyer can, kick that out, can also, as the other acre there, can also build other buildings, so you just
Fair enough.
don't know. And it's not fun to deal with, you don't know.
Right.
But I would say that, I remember the focus many years ago was that we couldn't just do the bridge. Because we couldn't get funds for it. It had to be longer. Stupid-minded people, in bureaucracies who say that you have to do it this length, otherwise there's no funding. But I'm wondering if there isn't a new climate that's saying this bridge is a problem. This bridge is too narrow. Look what they're doing with the bridge in Williamsville. They're making it 1.5 wider because that's the new guidelines. It might make sense to look at that from that direction. Before you,
So I think that's fair, and maybe we could look at talk to V-Trans and find out if this is on their list of replacement bridges. Because when they replaced Bridge 57 or whatever it is up here, they made it much wider, even though they wouldn't give us the dedicated path. It is much wider, so you can walk, you can bike, and cars can pass each other as well. So do you know, Eric, if we could look into where this particular bridge lands on the V-Trans project list?
I can do that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
On that other bridge every morning as I go to work, there are people running across the bridge. Going back over.
Yeah.
yeah,
Every morning.
they have the route to do it now.
Right.
You can't do it there. We've had a dog killed on that bridge because it was walking along the side of the property. And killed the dog.
Well, this is a very bad intersection that V-Trans has given us now. When the Eastover Road was closed, there were accidents out here. And it's really hard to take a right-hand turn when you're heading north on Route 100 on this. But that was their restructuring of that intersection. It's really, really hard.
But I think I agree, they should readdress it, kind of stuff. But again, the bridge is to me the prime reason to go through any of this hassle, but nothing else,
I appreciate your comments. Other comments? Sarah?
I think back a year or two ago, when I was trying to work with the previous landowner on the easement, we questioned V-Trans about why we had to do this. Wouldn't it make more sense to go north with the trail instead of south? And it wasn't stated to me directly, but it was heavily intimated that if we didn't do this, we would put ourselves in a very poor position for asking for any money down the road. That this was a section that V-Trans really wanted, and that they would look poorly on any further requests from us to do any other trail work. Now, I don't know if that's still true or not, but that was what I ran into We tried talking to them about going on the other side of the road. We tried bringing up a lot of different possibilities for that trail, and there was just, this is where we want it and this is how it's got to be. So I think Linda's suggestion, if that bridge could be is on a rebuild list and could be made wider, that would make a lot more sense. But we need to also maybe do some research into how this might influence any future state grant applications.
Yeah, because as you know, in the state, the employees change every 8 months,
Well, and this was really an easement issue for years and years and years. And then, of course, we get to the point where, okay, the landowner has agreed, at least in principle, to sign the easement, and then they sell. So, I mean, this just kind of it's, I feel like we've been just trapped in this whole thing. Other comments? So Eric, could you, Sarah?
I was just going to say, we need to have a lengthy conversation with the rep at VTrans about all of these, about the impact of withdrawing it, not just on this project, but on any future projects. And what Linda was saying about the size of the bridge and the timeline for that being redone. And just, I don't know, I mean, I feel like we've been getting a lot of different information.
Okay, Linda.
Well, one of the pieces that has been forgotten over the years is that we were given, when Ron Williams owned the complex, we were given the acre at the south end of that property. And it became our contribution to getting the federal loan to begin with.
So we own an acre down there?
We no longer have access to that acre. So here we are,
So we actually own an acre down
we
there?
don't own it, we don't own it.
He gave us.
He has the rights to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but then, things happened in his life, and Scott bought it, and Scott said, sure, that's fine, but nothing was ever put on paper with Scott. So it's sort of gone away, but it is kind of ironic that it was our contribution.
Well, you would know probably more than anybody else in this town about how that all happened. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you bringing your historical knowledge of the trail. So it sounds like when Sarah feels better, maybe you guys should try to get a phone conversation together about this with VTrans.
Okay.
That seemed like a good way to go. And give them our concerns too. Why we're unable to basically move at this point. And if there's other solutions that might improve the situation with the bridge in particular. But if it's gotta be, this is not a great bridge, so this has gotta be on some list at some point. Yeah. All right.
I'll make that happen as soon as possible, because I know that they want to try to come to a resolution here sooner rather than later. So as soon as Sarah's feeling a little better, we'll set something up with Ross.
Dan,
I'm fine.
okay. Anything else, Eric?
22nd, 2:00.
Bridge.
All right, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda, which are the minutes from September 20th. Can I have I don't have the numbers of the warrants. Oh, Dan's got it. Does somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes from September 20th?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of September 20th, 2022.
Second.
Scott seconds. Do we have any corrections or changes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
So we need to.
Aye.
The warrants from October 1st for $98,849.62.
I make a motion that we approve the warrants of October 1st, 2022 for
$98,000.
$849.32.
Said 93,000.
So it's at $98,849.62. Okay, second. All right. And how many people actually looked at the warrants, whether they were scanned or in person?
I looked
I
at
did
it.
look at all the warrants. I looked at them all.
Thank you. So did Sarah, so did I, and Dan, so fine.
And I did. Joe
We
Mahan
gotcha,
did.
Joe. We got you. All in
Making
favor?
sure. Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have FYI, bid proposals for the Snow Lake Dam scoping study are due October 6th, and at this point you have no bid proposals. The Planning Commission meets October 10th at 6:30 PM. Travis, just jumping back to the Snow Lake Dam, did anybody go to the walkthrough besides you? And
Yeah, that was quite good there.
so maybe they're just trying to get it together. Okay, today's only,
It seemed like it was.
2 Thursdays, so, okay.
well, hopefully,
Oh, no, keep coming.
yeah. Okay, I just was curious if there just seemed like there was no interest. Okay. Trails and Rec meets October 11th at 6:30 PM. That's next Tuesday night. And open mic night at the Dover Town Hall, October 12th and 26th at 6 PM.
Where's the planning commission?
Oh, the planning commission, I read that right before I jumped back to Travis.
I just wanted to mention too, the Sullivan and Powers reports are
Mhm.
here
Yeah.
for review. And also we got the 2023 Blue Cross Blue Shield rate.
Oh, no.
Um,
Is that what it was? Oh, no.
It obviously it's gone up. I mean, it went down significantly last year.
Mhm.
It is now back up between $50 to $150.
So we went down 7% last year, so whatever we go up, is it gonna be above what it was 2 years ago?
Yes. Yeah,
Oh.
2 years ago, it was, well, just to give you an example, the single plan currently is $611. Last year, it was $644. And now this year, it's $667.
Okay. Okay,
But I will hopefully review those next time.
yeah. Any liaison reports? Nope. I don't see anybody there. I don't know that we need an executive session. All right, so saying that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 7:33 PM.